When you think of bad teams, you might think of teams that had little to no screen time, development, etc. When I think of it, I think of the exit cast. Pause. Did Robody just say my favorite characters are the worst group? Unsubscribed. Wait. I am not saying the exit cast is bad. I believe they are all good characters that got fleshed out more than they used to be. What I am referring to is the way the cast was built, otherwise known as the vote to eliminate system. Take Lee for an example. There were mainly two other options to choose, Pillow and Pie. Pillow obviously didn't get voted off, since she was mainly a boring background character at the time. Pie was also somewhat boring as well, but more interesting than Pillow. How did Lie, such an interesting character with a lot of potential, get voted off instead of those boring characters? Simple answer. The audience hates quote-unquote mean characters, or characters who did something the writers set them up for. Another example would be Fiery Jr. He literally did no harm other than be slightly rude, but he had good intent and actually wanted his team to win. Fiery Jr. actually tries to be protective towards his friends, such as Bombi and Spongy, and genuinely cares for them. But oh no. Instead of voting off useless members like Gelatin, who didn't care that Donut died, nor cared at all when Spongy was eliminated, even though Spongy hasn't done anything to him. Here is a quote from the wiki. His actions, specifically in Out of the Blue, highlight his cleverness and dedication to his team, even in the face of repeated challenges. His sarcasm and frustration give his character depth, as he balances between being annoyed at their situation and determined to see it through. Despite his frustrations, Fiery Jr. remains protective of his teammates. He takes on the role of a lookout while Dora and 8-Ball explore the shipwreck, warning them when 4 approaches. His quick thinking and ability to burn the tentacle that clings to Dora demonstrates his commitment to protecting his allies, even when the odds seem stacked against them. This reveals his deeper sense of responsibility and camaraderie, making him a crucial asset to his team. I am not saying Fiery Jr. is a perfect character. I am just saying he was unfairly eliminated when there were other reasons to vote someone else off other than he was mean. Most of the other Exiters were unfairly eliminated as well, except a few. The ones I think were fairly eliminated were Bracelety and 8-Ball. Bracelety was mostly an annoyance to the group and didn't really have much potential at the time. Didn't really have a personally either other than riding Ice Cube. 8-Ball had a gag that was funny for a bit, but then died off later, which I think was justified since everyone else on the team, except Grassy and maybe TV, were better characters at the time. I will give a brief rundown on the other characters that should have stayed in the game and other candidates to vote instead. Pencil and Match were both set up by the writers and made them super rude for some reason. Snowball and Fanny were both options to vote out instead, since they weren't contributing much. More of Fanny, since all she said is, "I hate you," at the time. I'm not biased, but Robody was very unfairly eliminated as well. He was super interesting and mysterious, which is pretty unique from the roster of characters. The closest character to being mysterious is probably Teardrop, and she's not as interesting as Robody, since she got much more screen time to develop. Obvious candidates to vote were Rocky and David. Speaking of David, I wouldn't say his elimination was quote-unquote unfair, but sort of deserved. His joke sort of got unfunny as it got on, but still, he was a useful character who tried to help his team. Candidates to vote were Rocky. Stapy is another unfair elimination. Of course, the writers set him up with the whole cheating thing. He really did nothing wrong until then, and cheating wasn't even that bad to an extent. Candidates to vote off were Puffball, helped him cheat, Foldy, boring, and Yellowface, quote-unquote annoying. Dora was also robbed out of her team. She was literally the most useful member of her team and carried them through challenges easily. But of course, Book had some goofy arc that basically gave her plot armor and to anyone involved. Dora was a non-object, so people didn't like her for that either. You vote off characters for being mean, but don't vote off annoying characters like Book? She didn't even give a proper apology to anyone, and the only quote-unquote apology she gave to Taco was saving her from lava, which one she didn't even see Taco first. She wanted to save Ice Cube, and 2-4 can just recover her, but I guess that just solves everything, and Book is under the radar now. Book is a good character, but come on. To conclude this video, what I basically said is that if the voters had some common sense, this cast wouldn't have been made, and instead would have had characters that did nothing mostly. A part of me is glad this is the exit cast, though, since the character development on most of them went hard. I used to not like Bracelety and 8-Ball, but now I would say they are all good characters. Thank you for watching this video, and Robody will see you next time. Also, here's my Exeter tier list.